Well, it's almost over.
Almost.
So I have a few questions to ask, and I think I want to start with the present, with Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. And the character of George Smiley, he really keeps things close to his chest, and he's really, you could say he's an internal character. Does that make him easier or more difficult to play than maybe some of your more expressive characters of the past?
Well, it doesn't make it any more difficult to play. I mean, each role that you play sets up its own sort of hurdles that you have to jump. We're fortunate here because we have this extraordinary book as the source material. So as the writer or writers, Peter and Bridget, extracted, which is, I think, obviously they started with a longer screenplay, but as we sort of pruned it, weeded the garden, and Thomas Alfredson, the director, I mean specifically, he would reduce scenes to, he would try and tell the story with just a frame, just a visual and 3 lines and a look. You never felt that you felt supported always in those scenes, because the subtext that you brought was that book. So in a way you carried it with you. You absorbed it, and so for any given scene or situation, you always felt that you knew what you were, what you wanted from a scene, and what you were feeling and what you were thinking.
And what was it like working with the director Thomas? Because this is a pretty big jump for him. I mean, he's made a pretty amazing film, but this is a much bigger project to tackle. I mean, the novel is so well known, and there's been a miniseries, and there's been and this is his first English language film as a director. What did you find as far as working with him?
Well, he chased the project, and he had heard that the working title were Making Tinker, and he thought it was just impossible enough to go after it. I think that a lot of the other people, it's certainly in the UK. It was a very obviously there's a following that you don't quite have here in America. He is viewed as, it's like the Holy Grail, Le Carre, and many revere his work, and the series was hugely successful in its time, and there were a lot of or at least a few, not a lot, but a few English directors who were approached who would just not touch it and even go near it. So Thomas was, kudos to him for taking it on. And by the end, actually, we didn't even need language. We sort of communicated telepathically. I don't know what it was. He would say, we would do a take, and I would say, how was that? And he would say, it needs some... and I'd go, okay, and then we'd do a take. And I'd say, how was that? And he'd go, yeah, that was it. So I don't know what that meant, but it's funny. He was saying that in Sweden, the rehearsals are very much open to discussion. It becomes a discussion, and so he'll say to a Swedish actor, for example, I think you come in from the door over there, and then you will go to the curtains, and you will look at some of the papers on the desk, and then I think if it's good with you, then you end up and you sit in the chair. And the Swedish actor will say, well, I don't really think I would come in from there. I think maybe I come in from there, and instead of going to the curtain, you know, and there's this sort of discussion. English actors just do it. We do as we're told. So he would block a scene, and we would do it. And he said, and if your idea stinks, then you've got the greatest actors in the world. You see it immediately that the idea doesn't work. He said, because we would just, you know, he was amazed that we would just come in and be ready and do as we're told.
It defines that as being maybe potentially the greatest role. And is there another role that you remember as being, you know, great?
Well, no, I've been very fortunate in a career. There's no actor who's been as lucky as me, I don't think. I mean, you have a work ethic and bring a focus and a commitment and some talent and all of those things. But I mean, to get Harry Potter is you know, to get that is lucky. To get Batman as well, I mean, it's just greedy, you know. I mean, roles, JFK, Lee Harvey Oswald, I think Drexel.
Yeah.
There have been some great. Yeah, man.
But also, I think you said that you haven't actually, maybe you haven't had the luxury of choosing roles. They just come to you, or that, you know, despite the fact that you've had an amazing career, and there's actually the performances and the opportunities have been great. It hasn't been as easy as one might think.
No, you can. I mean, you can engineer and steer a career to a point, but it is what comes in, and you are always at the mercy of the industry and the imagination of the people that are casting you. So they see you in a certain way. In the 90s. I did those 2 movies for Luc Besson, and then I started to get a little sort of typecast. I mean, this is a very reined in, a very restrained, emotionally quiet character, and the people who say, I think, that I always play big, extravagant characters don't really. They haven't seen the whole career. Because they're not all like that, you know. But when I'm wound up and let go, you know, I can be very big. I think Gordon's quite.
Or is that an understated role?
I think it is an understated role. It's just a virtue, isn't it? Sort of Gordon. But this is, you know, it's rare. When things come together, I mean, this feels just like a harmonic convergence of the right director, the right material at the right time, the right part in one's life. You know, I mean, I don't know if I could have played a character quite as subtle as this when I was 25. I think that what I bring to it. What I can bring to Smiley now, at 53 years old, is 30 years of experience, and the courage, really, I suppose, and the confidence as an actor to play it that quietly.
Was there any challenges, or do you have any interpretation for this role, because it's such a well-known book and such a well-known character, or did that affect you in any way?
Well, it affected I mean, I was offered the role, but I waited about a month or so before I gave Thomas the final yes. It was very sweet. I sent him an email that just said I'm in, and he sent me back a smiley face. Smiley. But you know, the ghost of Guinness loomed very large. I mean, other people have played Smiley. James Mason, Anthony Hopkins, an actor called Denholm Elliott, and the one who had made it iconic was, you know, Guinness was the face of Smiley, and really until now, and considered by many to be the definitive performance, the characterisation of him. And so he's part of the establishment, he's a knight of the realm, much beloved actor, and so when you're walking in the shoes of someone like that, you know, it was fear. I was really quite terrified. It wasn't an easy sort of decision because of the inevitable comparisons that will be made. I mean, you're setting yourself up. You're standing next to Guinness, and so it took me a while before I said yes. And I think at the end of the day, I treated it rather like an actor would a classical role, where, for example, if you're going to play Hamlet, you're going to be measured against all the great Hamlets. And so I just thought, you know, pull yourself together, Gary.
Do you actually know that this is going to be, you know, all that you hope it to be, or is it often a surprise once you see the final product? What, I mean, in this film, I'm assuming it seemed like it was just all coming together.
No, not really.
Or
No.
were you also, did you not know until you actually, you know, saw what Thomas did with it?
Yeah. I mean, you get a feeling that, I mean, we felt that we were working on something special, you know. But you never really know. You don't intentionally go out of your way to make a bad film. and the same energy and commitment goes into making a bad film, because you're just trying to make a good film. And it's the same work. Everybody's working the same. And I mean, sometimes you know. I mean,
you know, and, well, I don't know, it depends on the judgment, but I thought your performance was great. It was above, was actually very good in Hannibal, but the movie didn't quite turn out as well as it probably could have. I mean, in that case, did you sort of have a sense that was happening, or maybe you were fans of Hannibal, but or should we go somewhere else? We don't talk about that busy.
I can think of a few others you could have picked.
That's being soft. There was one, I'm not going to talk about that one.
I liked it. So you were the one.
So we move on. I have one last question. I want to get some questions from the audience. But you haven't directed a film since you made Nil by Mouth in 1997. Are you going to? Was that a great experience? Do you want to direct again? When can we expect that?
Well, I've been wanting to direct again since. You know, I've been. Well, the last sort of 10 years since I did. You remember The Contender? Really, since then until now. It really has been 10 years of fantasy that I've been involved with Potter and the Batman, and I've been for 10 years in that. I've been a single dad, and that's been my project in a way. That's the kind of I've been directing two boys, which is the harder. I mean, you know, it's the hardest thing I've ever had to do, and actually, the most challenging and the kind of the most wonderful. And they are my. I mean, I say so myself. They're my greatest achievement. But they're to a point now. You know, directing it needs a commitment that it's colossal, I wanted to be. I basically wanted to be a dad who was around and not away, so a lot of it was weird. Early, 2001, 2002. There was a shift in the industry, and there was a lot of work that was being exported. So Bulgaria, Romania, Prague, all of these places became that was the destination. That was the location where movies were being made, and American movies. at Australia and South Africa and a lot of places in those days. They were opportunities that were close to me because I wanted to be closer to home. And now they're getting a little older. I feel that I can sort of focus where I need to focus and have the focus that it needs to make a film. But I've got something I'm cooking up maybe in a year and a half. A real 19th century piece set in the West. Yeah. So I hope to. I would love to. I loved every second of it.
How many people have seen The Contender? Because not enough of you. Because that movie is amazing. I was revisiting it today, and it was riveting, and your performance in that was astounding. And so if you haven't seen it, you should see that. And now I'm going to.